Now, if you're a fan of both Lethal Weapon 1 and 2, you're about to like Mel Gibson even more, as he recently put Robert De Niro in the hot seat. Now, we know a lot of actors like Robert De Niro have been unhinged individuals and really went on numerous rants about their politics, about their ideology, about all of their different agendas that they forced upon the general public, and it backfired on their careers. That's a given fact. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, we know that those out there like Mel Gibson, James Woods, Sylvester Stallone, as well as many different others out there have really been calling out other actors getting too involved in politics in a way that really backfired on their careers, right? We know that Robert De Niro, Julia Roberts, George Clooney, and many others out there are ones that got too involved in politics, either vocally in the public eye or behind the scenes, that really backfired through many different studios like Warner Brothers and Universal, and there's just far too many to name. But what's interesting here has a lot more to do about Mel Gibson really calling out Robert De Niro in the best way that he could. Now, what's interesting about Mel Gibson is that we know that Mel, Jon Voight, Sylvester Stallone, they have now been chosen to do something very special in the state of California and are serving as ambassadors. But what's interesting about this further is that we know that Mel Gibson really puts Robert De Niro in a place where he is exposed in a way that really kind of shows Robert De Niro for what he truly is. So let's dive into this, shall we? Now, what's interesting about all of this, alright, is that with the entire film industry now in serious trouble after the public pushback and backlash many actors and actresses have been getting, very vocal with their ideology and agenda, one monumental development going on now involves more to do with Robert De Niro and Mel Gibson, where Mel Gibson put Robert De Niro in his place. Gibson delivered the following: "I'm not one to call out others in this line of work, whether you are an actor or director or whatever it is in show business, but sometimes you have to speak up and call it for what it is. There is a growing problem in this industry where actors, who by the way represent production studios and distributors, who just get so unhinged with politics. Might I bring up Robert De Niro? Have you seen this lunatic? Have you seen the way this man talks about our country and our people? It's disgusting, and I'm just appalled that studios even let him say the awful things that he has said over the years. And actors like Robert De Niro wonder why they are losing their fan base or their core followers. Well, that's why. You got too involved in your political agenda, which was full of lies, by the way. And look, everyone knows my politics, but I'm not one to force it on anybody. I will throw it out there and let everyone know what I stand for. I'm not going to get angry and unhinged about it if you don't agree with me." Well, that's Robert De Niro for you. This man needs a lot of self-work to do on himself. I almost worked with this guy on a couple of projects. We almost had him for Edge of Darkness, but studio politics and creative differences got in the way, and other shenanigans sort of prevented us from working together on that one. But the way he says things and what he says is quite scary. Like, it was really making me go, why? Just why is he allowed to talk like that? Well, this is why nobody really wants to work with him anymore, I guess. More of these studios are really hearing the alarm bells now of what's going on from the American people. And look, I know I'm an actor, and I'm having the greatest opportunity of working on Lethal Weapon 5 and doing something I'm passionate about. Mr. De Niro is not passionate about anything he is working on. I mean, I just looked at his work for his upcoming film, The Alto Knights, and it just, something feels off with him in that trailer, man. Something seems off to me about where he is at with his acting capabilities. I really do believe all the energy he invested himself with into politics got to his head. When you are acting, you need to dedicate 100% of your time to the work if you really want to knock it out of the park. You just have to do it that way. And here you have Robert De Niro calling his fans names and just name-calling everybody and pointing the finger at crowds in front of the courts. So guys, before I move on, let me just say one thing about Mel Gibson. Now, he's pointing out about what Robert De Niro did in the past, where he went on those tirades and those rants in front of the courts toward the American people, and saying the most crazy things that you could even imagine. Now, we know that his upcoming movie, The Alto Knights, is the last movie by Warner Brothers before Warner Brothers really decided to just kick him out of the studio and wanting nothing to do with him anymore. This is a new movie, by the way, set to debut this March, that's going to have Robert De Niro playing 2 different mobsters. Alright, and it looks a little odd. I kind of do agree with Mel Gibson. The acting seems a little bit off in that trailer. Some of you may disagree with me and Mel Gibson on that, but I really do believe that his acting is way off in that trailer, just by looking at that in isolation. But again, it's just a trailer. But again, what's interesting about Mel Gibson here is that he really is calling out Robert De Niro for literally just kind of throwing these studios under the bus in a way and putting them in a bad spot. You're an actor, you're right. If you're an actor or an actress, you represent those studios, you represent those distributors, you represent those companies. And when you say the things that you say, you're going to lose customers. Those studios are going to lose customers, or those that are willing to see a movie starring Robert De Niro. And I don't think Robert De Niro realized that you're not just an actor, you're also somebody that's representing a very, very big and very well-known studio or company. And that's exactly what Robert De Niro did. He literally tainted those studios and really shifted the core customer base to other studios. People left Warner Brothers, people left other studios that once had Robert De Niro as part of their roster in upcoming film projects. Now, he goes on to conclude, I couldn't believe what he was doing. So look, as an actor, I'm gonna just focus on my work and doing what's best for this country and for this beautiful state of California at the same time. Now, of course, he's alluding to how he has been given this title as an ambassador of sorts for California, for Hollywood. But what's interesting here about this is that we know that Robert De Niro getting called out by Mel Gibson and many other actors out there, such as James Woods, he did that before in the past, some time ago. This really is gonna really take a lot of work for Robert De Niro to get out of. I don't believe that Robert De Niro is gonna get back on track. If anything, it's time for the man to retire. It's time for De Niro to call it quits. And look, I get it. You could say one thing about Mel Gibson too, about doing a Lethal Weapon 5, I get it. But look, he's passionate about that project. He's very involved in the creative process of that film. And you know what? I'm all here for it. After Lethal Weapon 4 and Lethal Weapon 3 being somewhat of a major disappointment, and I will openly say that, especially with the 4th one, I think a 5th one could very well bury the hatchet with those 2 previous Lethal Weapon movies. But overall, I think that Mel Gibson is just very passionate about being an actor, being, these projects that he's working on. Robert De Niro, not so much. He's just doing this for the fame and the fortune, from what it seems. More so for the fortune and for the money. That's what he's basically doing it for at this point, and that's why he's only getting more comedic roles rather than action roles, because he really can't, quite frankly, keep up with the mobster roles anymore. It just comes across as very fake and inauthentic, and a lot of people are just tired of it. If you guys go ahead and check out the Alto Knights trailer, you guys may have an idea of what I'm talking about, how it just looks a little off. But overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.